If you've ever sat down on a Monday morning, opened LinkedIn, or stared at a blank page and then just closed the laptop, then this video is for you. Because for a long time, that was me. I was running a business, I was serving clients, and every single week, content just felt like starting from scratch, whether it was this podcast or my social media posts. There was just no momentum or any rhythm, and content felt exhausting. I would post when I had energy, and then I would go quiet when I did not have energy. And my visibility stayed inconsistent till I could actually build a system. Until I could do that, my engagement was inconsistent, pipeline was inconsistent. And so the system that I'm going to share with you today is how it works for me. It's a really simple system, but it's changed everything. It's not just changed how often I post, it's also changed how easy it's become for me. Even in the weeks when general life needed more of me, my content still goes out. So that's the exact system that I'm sharing with you step by step. Because when you show up consistently, then the algorithm responds to you differently. Your audience knows and trusts you more because they're always hearing from you. They feel that you're reliable. You're building trust with every single piece of content. But before I open the box about the exact system I use to create content consistently, I do want to highlight one thing, that consistency is only half the content equation. Because you can have great content, you can even have real engagement, and still have zero clients. Because that usually comes down to the type of content people are posting and the balance between the posts that build trust and the posts that actually invite someone into a conversation. So I'm not really going super deep on that today. Today is more about the system. That's a whole another video. But I do want you to hold this thought at the back of your mind as we go through this, because the system I'm about to show you works best when you are feeding it the right kind of content. And I'll talk about it more at the end. So now let's get into the system. The whole system runs on what I call the anchor block. Now, most people try to create content every day, a little bit here, a little bit there, and that's exactly why it feels impossible, because you are never in a creative flow, because you're never giving yourself enough space to really get there. Creativity is different. So, the anchor block is one protected block of time every single week where all content gets created. Mine happens on a Monday morning. This is my non negotiable. There's no calls, there's no client work, there's no admin. Monday morning is writing time. And before that, before Monday, there's Sunday. So Sunday is where I stop and where I reflect on the week. What conversations did I have? What questions came up for me? What did a client say that made me stop and think? What frustrated me, what excited me, what shifted something for me. So, not writing anything yet, but I am recording all of my ideas as voice notes. They're often rambling and messy. And if you looked at my WhatsApp, you would see I just have loads and loads of all these recordings. But they all lead to a structure as I start writing, because the real and raw stories, they become food for the week's posts and the week's content. Now, some of you are probably still wondering about ideas, like how can you find them? The two places I find mine for content every single week are my DMs and my client conversations. If someone DM'd me this week with a question, that's a post. Because if somebody asked it, at least 50 other people are thinking, but they haven't just said anything yet. And that way, I'm not guessing, I'm actually answering exactly my client's questions. If a client hit a breakthrough this week, then that's content. There's a story around what shifted for them and why it shifted. If I had a conversation where I said something and the person on the other side said, "Oh, I'd never thought of it about that," then that's a post. So the ideas are already there. My posting system just makes me collect them intentionally before they disappear. Now, all ideas might be great ideas, but they probably won't be the best content for me. So I filter them through 3 questions. First question I'm asking is, does this content help anyone understand content and visibility better? Because that's one of my niche. Your niche might be something else that you're helping people with. So I would ask, is it actually related to your expertise? Then I want people to come in and talk to me. So, is that idea going to open a conversation? Does it move them closer to taking the next step? If my ideas pass through these questions, then I actually start creating content. And even in content, the ratio matters. For roughly every 5 posts I write, one of them is going to directly reference what I do and invite someone in. The rest builds the trust and makes sure that the posts land. So that's the system, the weekly rhythm that keeps content going even when everything else is hectic. But here's the thing that I mentioned at the start: the system is only as good as what you put into it. And there's a whole conversation to be had about the type of content that actually brings people into your world. The balance between teaching and inviting, the balance between engagement posts and promotional posts. You definitely should have both. And the lack of promotional posts or over promoting is why some people will post for months and still have a quiet inbox. So, what's actually going wrong there and how to fix it? I didn't want to cram it into this video because posting consistently is a big pain point for a lot of business owners that I speak to. And that's why I felt it deserved its own conversation. But tell me in the comments, do you want me to make a video specifically about content writing, how you should space your content, the type of content you should make? If enough of you want it, then I'll go ahead and record it. And if you're watching this video thinking that you don't want to wait for another video, you just want the whole thing now, the system and the content strategy, the exact type of posts that convert, and how to run all of it in your business, my course covers all of it. The link is in the description, and I'd love to see you there. So I'll see you in the next one.